Now, those two controversial projects in Elgeyo Marakwet County, and the senator for that county joins me now, who's also the Senate Majority Leader, Kipchumba Murkomen. Thank you very much for speaking with us tonight. We'll get to your statement in a moment that you presented at the Senate today. But starting off with the Deputy President's statement earlier today, it was extremely categorical. He said it's not 21, it's 7. Definitely speaking against what the DCI is saying. How sure is he of these figures, and what does it say that he's speaking at cross purposes with the DCI?
I think what you might have missed also is the statement from Treasury, which came late in the evening, and which exactly said that it's 7.8 billion shillings. The statement from KVDA yesterday also pointed to that 7.8 billion shillings. I mean, depending on the exchange rate that you use at a particular time, it's 7 billion shillings and thereabout. And I don't think the Deputy President spoke in cross-purpose. If you see the statement from the Treasury, and which is the same statement that similar to the one KVDA released, you will realize that this amount is guaranteed by a bank. And according to Treasury, it's guaranteed up to 11 billion shillings. And I think that is the message that has not gone to the public, that people don't know that. You see, you must first understand how development financing works. That when a country extends a loan, a concessional loan like the one we have in Italy, which is the same with Exim Bank of the United States, Exim Bank of Japan, Exim Bank of China, it goes with certain conditions. One is that you must get a contractor that comes from that country. For this case, you get an Italian contractor. Number two is that you must source most of the materials from that country, because it's a loan that is given to promote business of that country. But most importantly, there must be a commitment by the country when you are signing the agreement to a certain percentage being paid to the contractor. In the case of Kimwarer and Arror, it's 15% of the contract sum. In the case of Thwake Dam, it was 20%. In the case of Karumenu, it was 20%. In most of the contracts, 20%. In fact, the Kimwarer and Arror one is less by 5%. Now, once you pay the contractor that amount, what happens is that the contractor will have that as mobilization fee, which includes the surveys they will do, the designs they will do, and so forth. When they present the first certificate to claim for payment, now it's subtracted from the advance money paid to that contractor. That is not unique to Kimwarer, that's not unique to Arror, and that's why that sum is insured just in case the company goes to be insolvent, just in case the company doesn't perform or doesn't deliver to the standards.
Right, but now, that insurance, Senator, does not cover fraud or corruption.
Definitely it doesn't.
Which is what is being investigated now by the DCI, and the DCI is raising questions over this fund. So even if there was a guarantee, we would not get the money back if there's been fraudulent activity in this project, which is what
that is a good question. It needs also to be understood that this money is covered by bank guarantee. Bank guarantee has been procured by the company itself.
But that bank guarantty does not guarantee fraud,
does it? I'm saying it's the bank, it's the contractor himself who is in a healthy financial position to be able to get a bank guarantee, which means that his money, which is in his bank, is the one that is guaranteeing the advancement of these government finances. Meaning that should he engage in acts of corruption, should he become insolvent, it's not just corruption, it's just not even insolvency alone, incompetence or inability to perform the work, he will lose his money. And in this case, he loses his money, he loses it to the state.
And yet, this same company has issues with insolvency.
As I told you,
and has also being investigated for the possibility of bribes having exchanged hands.
No problem. There is no problem with that. All those issues, bribery, insolvency, non-performance, incompetence, all of them are covered in the agreement itself. If you read the finance agreement, it's a very huge document. It covers all situations of breach of contract by the contractor. And
including fraud and corruption, even if the company itself is involved in some
absolutely.
nefarious
If the
activity?
company is fraudulent, they lose their money to the state.
Okay, that's well and good. As the financier, that company would be able to lose its money.
Absolutely.
But there's also a Kenyan component. We took a loan for this project.
Yes.
Do we guarantee for that? Because it's also about guaranteeing a return on investment for this development project.
Only component.
And the questions that are being raised, Senator, over this project is that It has not taken place. There is nothing that is happening on the ground, and that, you know, a number of fraudulent activities like towels. I mean, you know, you've seen all of these issues that are being raised.
First, that is really the crux of my statement in the Senate. It is based on the foundation that people have never understood what advance money is all about, the 15% advance money. And as I insisted, and I want people to understand me, Kimwarer and Arror is 15%. Thwake Dam, do you know Thwake Dam? We paid 7.2 billion for 39 billion project in Thwake. About 3 years before the project has come, it doesn't even commence. We paid 5 billion for wait, for the dam in Thika, that is Karumenu Dam. We paid 4.5 billion for the dam in Itare. We have paid for roads, for everything. That is how international finance is structured.
All right, Senator.
Why do you pay this money? Let me just assure you, why do you pay this money? That is the advance money that is paid to the contractor for him to assume the job. He can't just assume the job.
That is understood,
and that
Senator.
is why it is based on bank guarantee,
Senator.
so that in case he is unable to do his work, it can be recovered. Number two, in case also, and this is...
You've explained it
yes,
already.
Exactly.
You have explained it already.
You know, my advantage, the real advantage, the only reason why I'm explaining this fast, because someone will ask himself, I don't work for this organization, so I'm only doing this in my former background as a person who studied international development financing. But it's not because I understand, you know, it's not because I'm the one who works for this organization. That is how you structure all sovereign loans, concessional loans.
That is understood.
Yeah.
So here is the question. This money is being paid out before designs are done.
Absolutely.
Before land has been acquired. And even the documents that are in our presence right now from the DCI, the Kenya Forestry says they are not even aware of the process.
Did you know that SGR was paid before the land is acquired?
So does that make it right because SGR and the others were done?
It is not.
So can people not raise questions on this now because it has been done before?
No, it can't, because as long as you're going for concessional loans, that's how it works. Not just for yesterday, not for like 10 years ago, not like 20 years ago, even the next 20 years. As long as you go for concessional loans anywhere in the world, you must be able to pay first advance money of a certain percentage. And as I told you, globally, the figure is between 10 and 25%.
Understood.
Yeah.
The question here is, before the design of the dam is made, before the land is acquired, then all of this money is being paid out. And that is fine.
That is the law.
Yes.
That is the law.
May I finish?
Yeah.
It is understood that money is paid in advance.
Yes.
For most construction even, money is paid in advance. That is not a problem. But before design is made, and when we have towels, and when we have tiles, some of which...
You're mixing up issues,
yes,
Yvonne.
but there's issues that are there with this whole thing. And many would ask, why not wait for what the DCI has to say instead of jumping to the defense? Because this is something that involves your constituents, right?
Thank you very much.
So why not? Why is it that what you are saying and what the Deputy President is saying are very categorical statements rather than wait for the DCI? Because you as a majority leader is making some serious statements as to the capacity of the DCI in investigating.
You know why I'm raising this issue? I want you to separate. If you pay money, I'll come to that for the contractor, but let's start with this. This structured financing is what we call engineering, procurement, and financing. You know, and then because the contractor comes and does the designs, and before he can even take up the job to do all that we have discussed, he must first have got the contract itself and must get the 50% guarantee that if they are going to put all their money in just engineering and the designs itself, he must be able to know that they have the contract. That is given. Now, assuming that, because I don't know if it's true, assuming that then you're talking about somebody bought towels, forget about even towels alone, assuming he went to holiday with the money, that is a ground for recalling the loan itself. That's a ground of actually breach of the contract if it reaches a point of time that he used the money not to achieve the milestones that are provided for in the contract. You know, the contract itself provides for certain milestones expected of the contractor. And there are certain milestones expected of the government. And let me say this, in this financing of Arror and Kimwarer, because we participated in many of the consultative meetings, government of Kenya is the one that procures the land for compensating people.
And yet that process hasn't
Not
even
yet,
begun.
Hasn't even begun.
And the Kenya Forest
Correct.
Services is on the
Correct.
record, including
All
the
those-
Interior Ministry,
all those issues
have
you're
no
raising-
idea about what
all
this
those
whole
issues you're
matter is
raising are
about.
correct. But it is the role of the government to now provide land for compensation. Tuake is not complete.
And let's speak about Itare, because it is the same Italian
not just
company.
Itare, not just Itare, but
Senator?
also talk about Carmenu Dam.
Senator, it is this same Italian company that has failed to complete Itare Dam. It's at 49%, and the government is now forced to subcontract because they had issues with financing. And yet this is the same company. Are you saying today that you have faith that this Italian company is going to build these dams to completion for the benefit of your people?
If they are unable, first of all, there is an advantage in the Arror and Kimwarer Dam because it's a joint venture program with another Italian company. But assuming even they are unable to finish their commitments, you resort back to the agreements.
Senator, my question is, are you comfortable with this company?
I am comfortable to this company to the extent that the government of Kenya is comfortable and signed an agreement with it. What's my emphasis on the question of Arror Dam, and that is the message I put in the public, was that there is a certain deliberate attack on these projects that is not applied to all projects in the Republic of Kenya in all parts of the country, and basically if investigations is going to deal with all projects that have advanced financing, for example the Tuake Dam, for example the Karumenu Dam, for example the Itare Dam, then it should be applied to all the dams, to all the roads, to all everything that has advanced.
So this is what you were saying in your statement, that it's unfortunate the project is being weaponized as a tool for 2022.
Absolutely.
By whom?
By, first of all, I saw in the media, I don't know exactly who are operating. I hear that, in a country like ours, there are many characters who have their own interest. And if you see the reporting that has been going on about the Kimwarer Dam and the Arror Dam, a lot of falsehood have been peddled, about it is being built in a seasonal river. It is not viable, it's not good for the country. And this is not the first debate that this has happened. When Tarkwel Dam was being built, the same narrative was put forth. When Eldoret Airport was being built, the same narrative was put forth. When
that narrative is what, Senator?
When Moi Teaching Referral Hospital in Eldoret was being built, people say it's not viable, it's not necessary to put in that place. I think that my county, and I speak as a senator of Elgeyo Marakwet County, that these projects which are in my county are being targeted by individuals who think that we do not deserve equal treatment because we have been a marginalized county for many years. Remember that the reason why these projects are being built...
Allow me to redirect.
Yes.
Because you said it's a tool for 2022
Absolutely.
Political fights.
Absolutely.
Let me ask this plainly.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is a deal to scuttle the deputy president's political ambitions in 2022? It would tally with Emmanuel Talam's statement, who works for the deputy president.
Actually,
he said, and I quote, "It's time to separate the fight against William Ruto from the fight against corruption. It'll save the little resources available." Are you saying here that this is specifically targeted at the deputy president? If so, who is doing it and why?
Let me first start by saying that I don't know the context of Emmanuel's statement and at what stage, but I speak for myself.
Yes.
I feel like all the campaign that has been going about corruption, and I've seen it in newspapers, in social media, in voices of leaders in this country. First of all, they are saying that, there has been this narrative being weaved around that, every Kalenjin is corrupt because deputy president is being targeted. Number two is that if you see the conversation, even the headline that involved the chief of staff of deputy president office, something absolutely unrelated to deputy president himself, it had to be brought to deputy president. If you look at the headlines for the last 2 weeks related to Kimwarer Dam, everybody was just trying to point at deputy president.
Who is this pointing at the deputy president?
I can tell, because that's why in my statement I say there are cartels. And let me say this, Yvonne. Our people are paying a very high price in the fight that one individual is being fought to stop the 2022 narrative. And some people have sat on this table and say that they have formed a coalition and a movement that is intended in targeting William Ruto. That is a fact.
Okay.
People of North Rift are paying in maize sector. They have now want to pay in their development projects. And when I say that William Ruto is being targeted, the obvious propaganda, of course, is to rush and say, you might be pointing your finger to the president. I want to say this for the benefit of everybody. I, as a lawyer, I've always said that as long as we start campaigns on matters corruption, starting from looking for Yvonne so that we look for the evidence, we will never succeed. And I'm saying this because I saw the debate about the KA, the airport, the Kenya airports and Kenya Airways. A very noble project. An idea that is being discussed at the executive with an intention of saving our very important carrier. By the way, do you know why we're saving KQ? Because not just because of performance of KQ, it's because of the tourists that we get from KQ, the exports we get from KQ. But what did you see in the headlines? The immediate thing was that, this is being done because President Kenyatta's family want to benefit. So the attack is as equal on the side of the President Uhuru Kenyatta as you see concerted attacks on the deputy president. But the difference in the deputy president situation is that there's a motive. There's an intended, targeted, strategic, organized motive to just stop him from 2022. Unfortunately, the collateral damage is going to innocent citizens. And I've said in my statement, not just the people of North Rift and my county. The collateral damage is even going to the economy of this country because there are deliberate policies that are being made in this country just to stop one person from 2022.
Senator, I'd like the gang